time. The next video make you happy, you're sure this time. The next video make you happy, you're sure this time.
Got a good fit, and you like my body. Got a good fit, and you like my body. Got a good fit, and you like my body. Sure, we may not be healthy, but we're cuter than a selfie. Pure like romance market, self-pleasuring, multi-level market selling. Telling how we're always faulty on the shelf, but still be fucking. Fucky knows now Tori's spelling. Let's do Polly, Mary Shelley. Frankly, every dime of Ben Science money couldn't buy the kinds of things I feel inside whenever you are by my side. Hell, let's play shell games with our feelings. I'm on your line, just keep on reeling. You might be null, so fake's appealing. Stay in the weeds like Kevin Nealon. Heaven only knows what I would be without you. Feel big love like I'm Bill Paxton, but I'm broke like Brian Wilson. Should I hold on like his daughter? Is that lining up for slaughter? Be time for wounds to cauterize, so we hit heights like my alma mater. This is how it goes. Love is always messy. Gotta confess the best me probably can't see how to be a we when you keep me guessing. I want to stress that this is a bad situation for me. I should break up with you, but I don't wanna, cause got a good fit, and you like my body. Got a good fit, and you like my body. Got a good fit, and you like my body. You like your body. Well, they say I'm on the rebound. Boy, your name is Ben Wallace. Be like Shaq and dunk it back, cause maybe I'm the tallest. But flawless I am not, so I'm questioning that shot. Like Big Ben shooting free throws. But you're really fucking hot! So what do they know? I'm not wounded just because they say so. Goons will bruise me, sure there's pain, but I always stay on like a volcano. Can we be the same though? Not a simple yes or say no when you're clogged up on this dude like your life needs fucking Drano. It's insane though. He treats you like shit. And you can't quit it. Now I've really stepped in it, cause I've got the feels for you and I should just move the fuck on. But I'm not going to, because got a good fit, and you like my body. Got a good fit, and you like my body. Got a good fit, and you like my body. And you like my body. And you like my body. Got a good fit, and you like my body. Whatever.
They call me lonely, and I don't know why. I really don't think I'm such a lonely guy.
I've got some problems, but I'm really trying to move on. Yeah, move on.
Murder on the beat like Godzilla slaying Tokyo. Just left your girlfriend sheets. Boomerang Rufio. Hooked her on this beat, Sonic. She was never saying no. Roll 20 on her tabletop, but she got some booty though. Chronic for the ones with positronic brains that wanna laugh and fuck that run but positive. The ones that let you do that kids while positronic. If I'm honest, Betty well will probably still be here the night I leave this cruel demonic world and want me Sonic. Losing brings are worse than me. Like that one piece losing king, I'm out to find that booty, Nami's on it. So what you say out that COVID quarantine? And you're looking good to me. Wanna let me in that Polly pocket?
And I don't know why. I really don't think I'm such a lonely guy.
I've got some problems, but I'm really trying to move on. Yeah, move on.
Fucking trends like I'm a winter soldier. No girlfriend, no skull into my molder. I'll pull on the depends fully when I'm older and still get checked like a Goron gets older. Focus gold, ranger hater, pink trying to domesticate. Masticate, I get it straight, so I ain't gonna masturbate. Swapping ride and sinking low, faster than my own self-hate. Think I pull like Ricky Bobby, but I'm bagging Ricky Lake. It's just a journey that I'm on. I fuck a lot, don't tell my mom. I suck at bills cause weed's the bomb, and I like the girls when they get that green on. She did something hard to swallow, leaving me borrowed Jordan's lines, line you in my density. Now I'm back to a future where it's just me in a world of
They call me lonely, and I don't know why. I really don't think I'm such a lonely guy.
I've got some problems, but I'm really trying to move on. Yeah, move on.
They call me lonely, and I don't know why. I really don't think I'm such a lonely guy.
like the economy. Don't call it a recession, because 1% think it's great and the rest of y'all can lay off, I'm guessing. Sticking to dick jokes at nearly 40s, childhood regression. When the fuck is the payoff? Clearly shorty was a better term than bitches, but when situations got us digging ditches just to pay some bills, we fix it back to burning witches when we should be burning corporations, but we bridges down fixing for pills. But who cares? Cause I can make it still, be the 1%. Ain't that the thrill? That'll fix it all. Let bears and bulls do their will, but it bears repeating. We full ass can't pay our bills still. Gotta keep the hope alive. American dreams for American lives. You forget your woes when I shuck and jive, and if that doesn't work, scroll me on by. The next video make you happy, you're sure this time. The next video make you happy, you're sure this time. The next video make you happy, you're sure this time. The next video make you happy, you're sure this time.
Got a good fit, and you like my body. Got a good fit, and you like my body. Got a good fit, and you like my body. Sure, we may not be healthy, but we're cuter than a selfie. Pure like romance market, self-pleasuring, multi-level market selling. Telling how we're always faulty on the shelf, but still be fucking. Fucky knows now Tori spelling. Let's do Polly, Mary Shelley. Frankly, every dime of Ben Science money couldn't buy the kinds of things I feel inside.
Well, I am not my much prettier girlfriend, but you should stick around and watch what I'm doing anyways, cause I share some stream accounts with my much prettier girlfriend, but I think if you hang out, you'll find out that I am we share a Twitch account. Twitch.com/dorkspace. She's on it honestly most of the time. I'm sorry that I'm not the hottie that you were hoping to find. Pretty hot though, if I say so, just not the hottie you were looking for.
But I'm playing every game on the Nintendo 64 and every Final Fantasy game that's come before. So please stay and watch me, por favor. I can't do this song anymore.
Hello. Hello, hi. You ever accidentally leave your mic on and then realize you accidentally left your mic on and then realize you were just sitting here in silence anyways, so it doesn't really matter. I was like, oh man, hot mic. They could hear me roll my phone, take my meds. Hi. Hello, Mike. Hello, Shiki. Congrats on first, Shiki. Hot mic, thanks. Thanks, Mike. Nope, never. I'm so professional, it's wild. Yeah. Alright. This thing. Lasted so I'd have more back, and I didn't back at all. Calm down. We will not calm down. We're gonna see if we can beat this game today. At this point, that's kind of where we're at. We're at making runs. We would have been there last week. Last week I actually got asked to be pallbearer in a funeral. It's interesting. I might not have had as much like, oh yes, I'll definitely do that, had I not like just gone through my grandma's funeral. It was like my friend's grandma's funeral. It definitely seemed like a little like I never met the woman, you know. And so in those moments where it's like everyone's like, well, we all have fond memories of, you know, and you're just like, I love this family though, so I'm here for that. But it's hard to find pallbearers. And that's not a thing you think about, so you have to go through it. I mean, it's like we had a lot of family, and we had trouble for when my grandma went. This love for me cannot be contained.
Fair enough. Thank you for fitting that quote. That's amazing. Top mod work. Need to get out of bed. I don't wish it. I don't. Here's some new life advice. Just don't. Just. I've seen it out there. It's not worth it. Just don't. But no, last week I got asked to do that, which was like interesting, and I was happy to do it for the family. That meant I wasn't here. That meant that we didn't get our first run at trying to beat this game, which meant the beard lived ever on. Since then, Microsoft has decided it no longer wants my business, I guess is what I into this microphone and like everywhere else, I've been maybe the biggest. Mike says the beard is looking very mighty, Jeff. Well, thank you. I did do some, as I said 2 weeks ago, I cheated and did a little trimming around these bits because eating beard is not a fun time. Not good. I could part the Red Sea. Nice. I just tried to cure the person. But yeah, Game Pass is now going to be $30 a month. We just free.
He really does give daddy energy, does he not?
That's all you need for daddy energy is a big, long, angry beard. As a bald guy, suddenly having to do hair maintenance is not fun. I did not miss this having to like shampoo and condition and be like brushing and all this nonsense. Very silly. Yep, I'm a simple woman. I also want to make you laugh. Yeah, it worked. Yeah, basically the entirety. We have 5 people in our family that span 2 different houses. In a lot of ways, if you count my ex-wife, 6 people, that span 2 different houses, and Game Pass made a lot of sense for us. And now it's like 2 different houses, and we have one away at college, right? So it was like Game Pass was the use case for that. And they even implemented like a family plan Game Pass overseas that never made its way over here. For whatever reason. That would have been helpful and interesting, and we would have looked hard at in a way that a lot of other people probably wouldn't have. And they never brought it over here. And instead they raised the price to $30 a month, which is $360 a year. Which had me for the first... When they bumped it from 15 to 20, it was like kind of like... already at a like, does this make any sense? Like when you sat and did the math and looked at our use case, the amount we use it, and that there's so many people, it kind of still made sense in a way that at $300 it just didn't. Shiki says, yeah, $30 a month is absolute shit, unless they're offering the entire Microsoft catalog for that. Yeah, and they weren't, like all those old, like they own all that old Activision stuff now. They own all that old, like, and a lot of that stuff wasn't and hasn't showed up. It's not like, it's like, cool, I can play every single old Blizzard game, and I can play. They own so many things now that it could theoretically kind of be worth it. But the other problem is just like all that back catalog stuff. How much of it are you gonna play in a month? And the math, there's still technically a way to make that math kind of almost work. If you like really are like, yes, we're gonna utilize this like crazy. And I should be the one who gets to that math the fastest, but it's not happening. And you add to that the like which I'm in this, you know, we're at October, November. We're at the point where guys like me with 3 kids start going like, okay, what's Santa putting under the tree this year, and what's my strategy to get it there, right? Ideally, I should be doing this like 6 months ago, but you know, this is when I start worrying about that. And any other year that Nintendo released a console, we would be talking about like, new Nintendo, new Mario Kart, you know? Probably better put, you know, family console, right? But like, I don't think that makes sense with $80 games. Like, it just does not, you know, am I gonna spend $80 for my children to for my children to either lose a cartridge that I've physically paid for, or am I gonna pay $80 to have the thing locked onto a singular family shared device that I have to stress out about them like handling all the time? That it just doesn't make sense, unfortunately. And again, it's weird because like that's, you know, like at any other time it would be like, oh well, of course we're gonna get the Nintendo console. Because 30 is too much for most people. I wonder how long it'll be before they roll it back. I don't think so. They got AI to pay for, and I think the problem is they just care about that and not about this gaming stuff like at all. Unfortunately, they are in the AI business now, and they spent way too much money on Activision, and that money has not paid out. And Daddy Microsoft is like, all right, guys. And so I don't really think that like a rollback is coming. He says, I guess it depends on how many people cancel it, honestly. Yeah, the fortunate thing with that math is they raise the price so high that quite a few people can cancel, and it will be made up for by the price difference. Like says Charlie, my 3-year-old just said he's going to do a Megasaurus poop, and I just thought it was related to this Microsoft. It is. That's very pertinent information. So that has led, I know I'm late to the party, but that has led to, we are probably moving over to a Steam-based ecosystem in this house, at least. So like the funny thing about what Microsoft did is that for the most part, we've used Xboxes over the last 8 years. But the thing is, we didn't really buy any games on it because we were paying for that subscription service, and it was like always just like, if I really, really wanted something, more often than not, I would buy it on the PlayStation. And because that's where I already had like a pretty big library going into this generation. And so there's not really much for me to like, walk away from this whole, it's like, hey, you're gonna give us $30 a month now, and I'm just kind of like, or I just walk away because I'm not tied to you at all either. Like, I don't really, I have a console I have to figure out what I'm gonna do with, I guess, but you know, and I have a Silksong game I was in the middle of playing, and you know, Selena was in the middle of Hollow Knight, but like, There's also some weird convoluted ways you can maybe get those saves that I've been looking into. But yeah, so we're slowly, I think, gonna be, and maybe, he says 30 pounds for all you can eat buffet of 6 out of 10 games. Yeah. Well, that's the thing about them raising the price. Is like, I love indie games more than anything. That's like all I ever want to play. And I love sampling games. I love like, hey, I'm gonna sit down and just try a new game I've never played before. That's like one of my favorite things to do. And Game Pass was perfect for that. But so many of those games that I wanted to play are games that are $5, $10, $15, $20 full price, let alone, you know, they go on sale way cheaper than that. So the idea of giving a company $30 a month serve me that buffet, just like that didn't make sense. It's a bummer. Like those days were good, and there's so many games that I fell in love with that I probably wouldn't have tried otherwise. And I'm gonna have to like do better work at game discovery now, because a lot of my game discovery was like fire up the Xbox, see the, you know, the 6 or 7 games they added to Game Pass, and more often than not, the quote-unquote AAA or AA, the big games I was not interested in, it would be like oh, cool. Mike says the only thing I want that Xbox provided is Grounded 2, but I can wait. Yeah. Yeah, it's like Obsidian's games are definitely like stuff that they own so many studios that I absolutely love and cherish, because they bought so much stuff, and it sucks. Not a single one of those studios has had like, I guess Obsidian is kind of the only best example of like doing some really, really good work post Xbox acquisition. But even then, I'm trying to remember, was the first Outer Worlds, was that pre or post acquisition? I can't remember. Because that's Grounded is great. It's also just not what I think of as a quote unquote Obsidian game. You know, it's Mike says it's the same issue with 2. There's nothing there for me to warrant buying a console. Like it's weird because I've got a guy who pops in my shop and hangs out there every Wednesday. And he's been bringing his Switch 2 around, and he's just like, wait till you see this. And it was Super Mario Galaxy. I was like, I've seen it. I was there. I played this one. I played a little of the Donkey Kong. It's fine. I don't know that it's $80 worth of fine. Yeah, I don't know. It's wait till you see Final Fantasy 2 on Switch. I think I'll end up with a Switch 2 eventually, because we have such a very large Switch 1 physical library. And you know, Switch games run really great on the Switch 2. And so eventually it just will make sense to have one. But I think I will probably do it like when it's like, hey, you know, they halfway through this console cycle, there's a new Switch 2 OLED fancy version, and then maybe I'll sneak out and get one of the people that's selling off their first rounds to get the second round. I'll snag one from them or something. Mike says this is Zelda machine. Yeah, I didn't even get the last Zelda, which is so weird for me. Like I used to always just like, well, it's Zelda, I have to get it, and I was just like, I don't know. I was like poorer at the time that it hit, and then I was less poor by the time later. But then at that point, it was just like, do I need Echoes of Wisdom? It looks good. I said I didn't like Tears of the Kingdom. I didn't love Tears of the Kingdom either. For all the reasons that people loved it. People absolutely love all of that stuff with the building and I thought it was really neat. And then I got to a point where I was just like, I just want to play a Zelda game. Can I just play Zelda? It says it's just moving planks of wood around for 200 hours. Yeah, that was my take on it as well, which is not a popular take, but it's fine. I'm all for experimentation, and I'm glad that they did it because it's neat. But it's just not what I want out of a Zelda game. And they shouldn't make what I want out of a Zelda game, because what I want out of a Zelda game is Link's Awakening, and they already gave that to me on Switch. So, they already remade my favorite Zelda game. They did an amazing job, and they can't. Would I love it if they just kept making games like that? Like, give me the Oracle of Time and Seasons, but in Link's Awakening style, in that like cool like little claymation-y style they did like that. Yeah, I would be all about that, but I'm just one man. Mike says they should move another direction for the next Zelda game. I think I bet they are. And it'll be so many people's favorite Zelda game because like the attach rate, and there's just so many Switches and Switch 2s out there, and it's just like it's such a like insane powerhouse of a console, as far as just how many of them are out there. But it's interesting. I firmly think, and I think anytime you root for any corporation or like get really like console worry about this I like this corporation and they're the good ones, and this corporation, I think that gets really silly really fast. I think Xbox, up until very recently, did offer the better of the two console experiences this generation, because Game Pass was like an insane value, for especially if you were a house with kids. Almost all of the Game Pass games were like those like silly streamy games. The like, oh my god, I saw Markiplier play this. Like, those games would all come to Game Pass. Like, and they're all the games that, you know, your kids would see in a video and then want to try once because they saw Markiplier play it, right? And then, like, what? $? I don't have $40 in the bank account. Yeah, it was... And they would play it once and then never play it again, and Game Pass was full of that stuff, and it was kind of perfect. Like, having that buffet available was great. That said, it didn't matter. I said that into microphones. I said that to anybody who asked my opinion at the shop. Everybody who bought a console bought either a Switch or a PlayStation. More PlayStations sold in the month of November in 2024 than Xboxes sold in the entire year of 2024, which is insane, because I personally don't think Sony did anything to earn that from the greater populace. What's up, Burgers? Shiki says, I love Tears of the Kingdom, but I would also loved it if you had the same Sheikah Slate from Breath of the Wild and the same powers. Yeah. And it's weird to me narratively that you don't. But, Mike says, I'm not too invested in the PS ecosystem to move away to anything else. I've bought games, and I have bought games because Markiplier played them. Yeah. We're all guilty of that. But that's why Game Pass was perfect. And you could sample it and be like, all right, am I going to play more than 5 minutes of this, you know, and find out? Here, Burgers, it's good to see you this morning. I pledge that I will beat this game by your wedding and thus not have this giant ass beard for your wedding. A pledge I'm willing to make today that a year from now I won't have this beard. I will do a week-long marathon of doing nothing but playing this game the week before if I have to. I'd move the wedding forward. But yeah, PlayStation just sold gangbusters. You know, the Nintendo systems sell gangbusters, and Xboxes are not moving. And their attempts to get people to subscribe to Game Pass on things that weren't an Xbox, which I guess everything's an Xbox now, but their attempts to do that have not gone well. I mean, if you look at the launch of games like Silksong or Pal World that were on Game Pass, so it's like it would be a $40 game in the case of Pal World, and you could have gotten PC Game Pass and just played it till you got bored of it and then moved on, canceled your subscription. But it's sold like crazy on Steam because everyone bought it on Steam. Yeah, also Silksong, similar, although that one, the argument's a little less there because Silksong was $20 and Game Pass was at the time right around there. But like they have attempted constantly to move people into these other spaces, moving on to game. It hasn't worked out, and so now they have to pivot and make their shareholders money. Numbers got to go up. They've acquired all of these game studios that were like celebrated studios, but they laid off almost everybody there because game number got to go up. They raised the price now in Game Pass and their cloud service, but hey, guess what? Their cloud service is down today. It's not working because they can't catch a PR break right now. So yeah, I don't know. It's a bummer. I don't root for any of these companies in a way that is like gross and weird. But I don't want to see them fail because, not having the PlayStation Plus subscription service that exists solely exists because of Game Pass and the competition that was Game Pass. Like if Microsoft wasn't coming out and doing what they were doing with Game Pass, Sony wouldn't have had to come up with their own answer to it, right? Its competition is good for the consumer, and these companies going down is ultimately not great. Like, we need more competition in the water for that stuff. So Shiki says you're beating this game today. I would love to. Hopefully I can pull it off. But yeah, so we're moving over to a Steam ecosystem. I put a version of Linux on one of our old gaming computers, just to kind of test it out. That boots it straight up to Steam OS that you can control with a controller like a console, and put that out in the living room, and that thing's real rad. I like it. Lena has not stopped playing Fields of Mystria on it. I did that, which is adorable and cool, but it's also one of those things where it's like I had to put a lot of work into doing that, and I was like, and we have a Steam-based gaming console from the couch, and she was like, great, thank you, I will take that now. That's been the last thing. I which is fine and adorable, and I love her when like the kids were trying to take it over when I had to work last night, and we're like, will you set up a Steam account? Can I play this game? Can I play that? And I was just like, we're waiting. Like I have Thursday night where I have a lot of bandwidth. Wait till then. We'll get everything set up. But yeah, and the Steam family sharing, because a lot of things have changed in the last like handful of years. You know, Steam decks now are not hard to get a hold of like they were when they first came out. So like when you're sitting there, you know, trying to figure out what to do as a parent and what to put under the Christmas tree, when Steam decks go on sale, they're $320, which is a lot of money, right? But in a world where a Switch 2 is $450 and there's not really a way that makes sense to get your family into the Switch 2 ecosystem unless eventually you build towards everybody having their own Switch, right? And then you're looking at, oh, I can get a $320 Steam Deck or a $450 Switch. I think I'm going to go with that one. Oh, also, if I get them a $320 Steam Deck and I buy a game on Steam, the Steam family sharing, and one, I won't be paying $80 for that game, which I would have to on the Switch. And the family sharing is such that, like, hey, we can all access that game. We just can't play it at the same time unless we have 2 copies of it. And it works in a way that makes sense. Like, it's just really that family sharing. Like we were watching Sam and friends play Peak during their charity stream, and my family was like, that's a game that we would like to play. And one, I don't even know that the game's on consoles, and 2, it's just one of those, that game is $7. And in a world where we all have our own little Steam systems, if I buy a copy of that game and Selena buys a copy of that game, then any 2 of us on any of our systems can play that game together. And then if it hops on sale at some point, then we can buy a 3rd copy. You know, like that kind of stuff where it's just like, oh, cool. Like we can just in case all 3 of us want to play together, then we have to own 3 copies. But if any 2 of us in the family own it, I want to play it, but yeah, it's only on Steam, yeah. Mike says, yeah, I would love a Steam Deck. Yeah. Well, the best part of it too is I've been talking about this for 2 weeks, and people come in and they're like, and again, part of my appeal on the Steam Deck is the LCD version, the lowest tier. It goes on sale. It is only $320. Now everyone I've told that I'm going to be slowly getting Steam Decks, that's like into that stuff, goes, oh, you don't want a Steam Deck, you want a blah, 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 blah. And they offer me these other systems that are like probably admittedly way better. They're also all like $700. Like, no, you don't understand the appeal here. Like, it's at $320, which is a lot of money. The ROG Ally, yeah. There's another one. I can even. Yeah. Legion Go. A couple of my friends like are obsessed with the Legion Go. And it's just, I'm not gonna buy a 320 or a year of Game Pass. That's the thing. Yeah. I was able to justify, you know, as we go into our I'm still probably going to sell the Xbox, which will also add up to it. But I was able to justify buying a Steam Deck because it was like, it's a year of Game Pass. When a year of Game Pass is $360, you can buy a Steam Deck for $320 and be like, well, I guess our Steam Deck is covered. Which is insane. Which is like why I don't understand, you know, Microsoft. The other thing is like, okay, so you had me buy no games on this. Done. You had me buy no games on this Xbox Series X that I bought at launch. Also, you keep increasing the price of your Xbox Series X in the marketplace, which means that the used value of this console that I never bought any games for also keeps going up because of what you're doing. Like, you are not giving me reasons to and it's weird because I usually never sell things because I'm a hoarder and a goblin and I collect all the things, and I usually know like, if I sell stuff I'm gonna regret it later or whatever. But I didn't buy anything for this thing. I don't know about nothing. There was something that I like Shiki says this might be a good time for me to switch from my Xbox One S to an Xbox Series S, so I can play all of my older games on it and get a physical copy of Silent Hill F. Sure, but the Series S I don't think has a disk drive, so you'll be rough. I do have a Series X that is available. That's the other thing, is that our, because it was all I could find at launch, I wanted a PS5 with a disc drive, but the one I found at launch didn't have one, and at the time I was like, oh, you know, we buy a lot of digital games anyways, but it's at a point now, and we have a pretty big PS4 library, and it's gotten bigger because I keep finding them. Like, people are dumping PS4 games a lot right now for some silly reason, and so I would like to get a disc drive PS5, and those exist obviously somewhere, so I thought about, is this where and this is where it gets really crazy because of how much stuff has gone up, and it's like a similar thing to like housing right now, where it's just like, oh, cool, my house has gone up absurdly in value. That's really weird. I could trade up, but then you're still like spending money. But like, I could sell my Xbox and my PlayStation and come out of it with the PlayStation Pro pretty close to it. And then I'm like, do I want a PlayStation 5 Pro? Normally I never do those kind of weird mid-tier upgrades. But it's, again, like the weird situation we're in right now is just very unique in that these consoles are going up in value, which has like never happened in any of these time. You know, I bought my launch Xbox Series X for $500 when it came out, and normally at this point in the console cycle, you'd be like lucky if someone would give you $100 or $200, and they sell used pretty regularly for $400, which is crazy, but not crazy when you think about the fact that a brand new one now is $550, and increasingly finding ones that have the disk drive in it is getting harder and harder. It's very weird. And so like the people that made out like absolute bandits, like absolute crazy bandits, are the people that had an Xbox Series X. And if I would have known, I would have maybe considered this. But at the time, it was like the idea of getting rid of this was insane to me. But there was people that went in because GameStop had a deal for the Switch 2 that you could get extra trade-in on your Xbox Series X. And they were giving like it was like $420, $430 or something like that, because they were turning around again. You know, when the new ones are $550, GameStop can sell the old ones for their used ones for $500, right? So like they're happy to pay $440 if you're then turning around and buying a console and they know you're going to buy games and everything else. So they were just like, yeah, sure, here's like $420 for this console. And like those people made out like absolute bandits, because the thing you don't know now is like, you know, am I going to be the only one like dumping all my Xbox stuff? I don't know. I'm sure the lovely woman who is my ex-wife, I'm sure she will not be leaving the Xbox ecosystem, because that's where she plays the one game she plays, which at this point is Apex. Plays, you know, works as an accountant all day, works her butt off, gets home, fires up that she works from home, so I guess she walks across, but you know, fires up that Xbox Series X and starts Apexing till she gets a little sleepy, goes in the other room, and then she has an Xbox Series S where she then lays in bed and finishes up Apexing. And she played some other things here and there. I know she played Clay Obscure, so but like for the most part, that is, you know, that is her thing. And that's the crazy thing too, is like that was the appeal of the Xbox ecosystem, was like, hey, we're gonna give you cheap consoles and we're gonna do this Game Pass thing. So you want to play one game? Cool. You want this like whole buffet of games? Cool. We're gonna let you take your clouds, you know, you can play in the living room and then go and move to bed, and you know, you have these devices everywhere. Your saves are gonna carry. I'm still always, and I'll always give them credit for this, I'm so wildly impressed, because I did not get an Xbox One till like the very tail end. I got Cheeky's Xbox One S when they were like selling it in just like an absurd sale. I didn't specifically take Cheeky's, but like the console she's talking about. Although mine doesn't have a disk drive, so but the Xbox One S, like, again, and I got it specifically because of Game Pass, because I was just like looking from the outside in, like, oh man, this deal is crazy. And And then for a long while, you know, I had the Xbox One S in one room and the Series X in one room, and I could walk back and forth between the two and fire up games. It was nice. And I will forever give them credit. I didn't pay them a dime for years. And when I fired back into the Xbox ecosystem and downloaded an Xbox 360 game, my saves were all there. Which is crazy. They did not have to do that. That was cool. Useless in some cases. I'm like, yay, I'm going to play back through Castle Crashers and re-experience the fun of unlocking everything in Castle Crashers. Like, oh, it's all still unlocked. Whoops. Woo, you entered Pandemonium. We did it. Kind of. We did the start of it. But yeah, so I will say in that instance, like, Xbox killed it. And, like, they really, for a time, had something that was hard to argue with as far as what they had to offer. And I do think at some point, some sort of thing that is called an Xbox will come out. Around the time something called a PlayStation 6 comes out. And unfortunately, I don't know that they have a good argument for that thing. I mean, part of the argument for Game Pass was the fact that, hey, it's great. You're going to be able to get Xbox games. You're going to be able to get them all day one. And that was them dining on their years of history of putting out games that you would want to play on day one, and which they've basically spent the last 2 generations not really doing for the most part. And then it was fine because the answer was going to be, hey, we're going to buy all these places. And you know, Starfield was not. It was fine. They needed. It's so funny. So much of the fate of Xbox is probably linked to one game, and that game is Starfield. And it's so interesting. If Starfield would have, like, because that's everything that Microsoft did. It was all based on, like, guess what, guys? We have the place that gave you Skyrim. You see Skyrim? You see how successful Skyrim is? This game will also be that successful, and we own it now. Okay. Hey, you see the success that is this thing over here? You see this? Like, we own all that, and it's just Starfield wasn't Skyrim. It never would be, you know, but it also wasn't even Mike says, I just watched some streamer play Silent Hill and they finished it and shit on it because it has multiple endings. But I don't think they Silent Hill before. There's a lot of shitting on that Silent Hill game that I don't understand. We still need to play more of it. I really like that game a lot. We're gonna hopefully be carving out some stream time for it soon. We can keep playing and finish it. Mike says, I still blame Don Matrick for the downfall of Xbox. It all started with him. Yeah, it certainly did. The Xbox One fiasco, which I'm sure wasn't just him, but you know, he took the lion's share of the blame for, was maybe the most tone deaf, most fumbling the bag thing I've ever seen in all my years of occasionally covering but always enjoying video game stuff. It was wild. I mean, you had, and that was coming off of the heels of a generation before, like, for those of you that aren't around, the PS3 launch was abysmal. It was as PR bad as you could possibly get. Because it was a similar time to now. People just did not have money in their pockets, right? And the PlayStation 3, you know, for the most part, they had one cheaper option. It was the first time like you saw, you know, consoles launch with tiers. But for the most part, it was a system that they were asking people to pay $650 for, and like, oh hey, I got another ribbon. Cool. What's up, Cash? The tough thing about getting another ribbon is now I'm just like, I don't know that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't lower his attack at all. So the problem with getting another ribbon is now I'm just like, I don't want to back out and punt this till next week. But like, now we have 2 ribbons. Also, the ribbons aren't as effective in this game as they are in other games. We learned, fortunately. But yeah, Don Matrick with his whole well, you know, if you we have a product for people that don't want this Xbox One. It's called an Xbox 360. That definitely was a wild and terrible time for video games and for the Xbox brand as a whole. Probably the worst time they had till literally now, and they've been in a constant state of trying to make up for that. They're out there publicly saying that like they lost the one generation that mattered because everyone bought these digital libraries on PlayStation that because of the horribleness of how they launch, and rightfully anticipating that a lot of people would be moving over to digital stuff. Everyone bought their digital libraries on Sony instead of Microsoft, and so they're blaming that for their lack of success now. Probably not heal these things. Probably would be a good plan. And it in some ways, I think that's possibly true. In some ways, though, I think it's kind of a cop-out. Like, they're not doing well now because they haven't put games out. It is like the end of the day. You know, again, if Starfield would have been this undeniable thing, and Indiana Jones would have been this undeniable thing, and Halo, I forget what they're say. I don't even think they've done anything with Gears in forever. You know, if these games were like these undeniable powerhouse experiences, the people would be like, "Oh man, have you played this game?" Like, no, I don't have an Xbox. It's like, you don't even have to get an Xbox. It'll run on. You have a PC. You do PC Game Pass. You can. They would be fine. If they would have put out games that people were like so excited about that they were like undeniable, they'd be fine. They didn't. And they didn't really, towards as much as I love the 360 generation, as much as I love that time, and those are will forever be mine and probably everybody else's favorite Xbox memories. They didn't, during that time, really do a great job towards the end with stuff either. We all remember fondly that first Xbox interface and like the blades and how cool it looked and everything else. But the Xbox interface towards the end was kind of hot garbage. And was kind of full of the kinds of things that we think about and hate now, of just like all the advertisements and all the everything. And yeah, so I think the problems were starting there. And they were probably looking at statistics saying, like, you know what, more people are watching Netflix on this thing just as much, if not more, than they're actually playing games. And so they were like, this is why it's the Xbox all-in-one console. You can watch shows on it. You can do this. And like, not understanding the fact that like, hey, yeah, it really helped for the PS2 that it had a DVD player in it, but they didn't market the PS2 as a DVD player. And if they would have, people would have shit all over them and not bought their thing. Like, you market it as the game console, and then the attachment comes from like, well, we do all our stuff on that thing, so might as well. And then they let people buy a whole movie library that they were one of the first. Both them and Sony were the first ones to like shutter their movie service. I don't know. I really don't need to go up there. It's been a long, rough road, and it's hard to figure out when it exactly all went wrong. But it really did seem like with Game Pass, they were like starting to right that ship and turn it into a thing that, like, you know, brag about again, and be like, yeah, no, the Xbox cool. But I and a bunch of other people spent the last 9 years proselytizing Game Pass, and most people said no. And, you know, 30 million of us or whatever said yes, and we're very like, or whatever the amount of Game Pass, I forget what the number is. Will you stop stealing our bells? I thought the first time I fought these guys, I thought you were like permanently losing these spells, in which case I was like, holy shit, that's hardcore and shitty. Especially how hard you have to work to level up spells in this game. Which, like, would be insane. And I wouldn't put it past this game to do in the ways that it's just like way beyond harsh with some stuff. Mike says, here's our new game console, TV Sports, TV Sports. Yes, I remember. So at the time, I was putting out my senior lit, or my my college lit journal, the big lit journal that I was editing, which was like, we were bringing back the lit journal after it hadn't published in like 10 years. And I was sitting there, you know, trying to get all the final edits in, and at the time, my only thing I was actually getting paid for was my games journalism stuff, and to sit there and go, it just felt like very, I love him, but somewhat snooty, you know, English professor, and be like, hey man, hey buddy, yeah, I'm happy to sit here and keep doing this line work and get this done. And I'm very proud of this thing too. I'm going to need to turn this presentation on because Xbox is about to present their new console, and I need to, I need to have TweetDeck open so I can post my takes, because that's not directly what I get paid for, but that's kind of the job in a weird, fucked up way, because what is this world? And I had to make this whole room full of like snooty lit majors putting out a lit journal and a snooty professor watch that Xbox One presentation, and just it was the most surreal thing I think I watching them go, and it's called the Xbox, and at the time didn't even put together the whole like, oh, the reason they called it the Xbox 360 is they had this weird dude who was about to be cucked energy of just like, well, if it's called the PlayStation 3 and we have the Xbox 2, 3 is bigger than 2, and like it was insane. Like, way to turn a not problem into such a worse problem down the line. So they went with the Xbox 360, which is admittedly like a good name. We had the Xbox 360 versus the PlayStation 3. But then everything after it was like, what the hell do we name this thing? Whereas the PlayStation's like, hey, here's the number up one. He says, I'm back. I have cinnamon raisin swirl toast. That sounds amazing. I could probably buy a new toaster while I'm buying Steam Decks. My toaster doesn't work. I have to hold it down to toast. I mean, it works. It just doesn't. It's probably a fire hazard. I should probably do. And you have to literally hold it down and be like, toasted enough. Let's go. It's not ideal. See, that console launch was insane, and similarly to how I'm acting now, I immediately, canceled my Xbox Gold subscription at that time. Just because of how tone deaf, especially going into E3. Because like going into E3 that year was like when all the news hit of just like how locked down that system was going to be, and like how it was just crazy. And I went and pre-ordered the PS4, like sold off my Xbox stuff. I think I kept the console, sold a bunch of the games, to pay into the move more and more stuff into the PlayStation ecosystem. Because it was just like, well, we'll see how this goes. This is the fight that has ended our runs before. All these lovely ladies that can fuck us up real easily. We do have us some ribbons, which is helpful, I hope. But again, the ribbons are not as effective as they are in past games. Really want cinnamon raisins swirl toast. That sounds amazing. But yeah, and then I wasn't in doing anything Xbox for years, and then Game Pass brought me back, and now I'm leaving again, and it's a bummer. We need more competition. Shiki said it was so good. I love stuff like that. Me too. I'm like, I have a real pastry problem. We do have cinnamon, like apple cinnamon donuts. I had one of those this morning. Because that's what you do around here as it starts to get cold, is you drink cider and eat apple cinnamon donuts. And we have our big pumpkin patch trip on Sunday. I'm very, very excited. He says I was huge into Xbox, PlayStation interchangeably. I had an Xbox and a PS2 and played both a ton until my Xbox caught fire. No. I hate that OG controller, but man, the initial Xbox was like such a good system. That thing ruled. The actual Xbox One that we can't call it an Xbox One anymore. The Xbox original, whatever you want to call that thing, with the Duke controller, which everybody but Sam hates. Sam is like the one person I know that's like that's I think it was Sam. It was just like, I love that controller. And I was like, what are you talking about? Most people can't stand that thing. But that system ruled, and I have so many good memories of playing Halo and Fable and Knights of the Old Republic, and it's just that thing had so many heaters on it. She said, oh man, I could go for sour cream donut and some apple cider. What is a sour cream donut? She said, I was so upset. I had so much music saved on there, like so many good game save files, but the plug connection sparked and caught fire. Oh, that sucks. She said, I don't hate it, but it comes from nostalgia. I think if I didn't have the original Xbox and played a lot, I would probably just like the OG controller. It's just, I have tiny little baby girl hands, and it does not work for me. I'm also, I've just learned, I'm someone that, it's interesting that like the Xbox has become like the controller for most people. Their like 360 model that they've basically just taken forward, because one of the main weird reasons why I would rather, if I'm going to own something, I would rather own it on PlayStation instead of Xbox, is like that is like right now. So I'm using, I think this is technically a Switch Pro controller, and my thumb is starting to hurt because like I'm using the D-pad, and my thumb has to I would much rather, where the analog is, I would much rather the D-pad be there. Personally. I just went the wrong way. I get talking and I don't remember my routes. But yeah, I'm a D-pad person, and like most people are hating on people who their advice on the internet for Silksong is, hey, use the D-pad. It's just use the D-pad. But I grew up on a D-pad, so it's like that's what feels right for me. But a lot of games you have to use the analog, and when something's especially 3D, it does make more sense. But yeah, clean up back here probably. But yeah, I like D-pad. The PlayStation controller orients the D-pad in that like first position, and then you can reach down for the analog. Shiki says, yeah, I change between analog and D-pad when we play Silksong. I don't know how anybody plays that game with analog. It just, especially for the pogoing and stuff, you need the precision of the D-pad. And then I find myself just like, even on modern games, trying to use the D-pad first and then going and that doesn't make any sense where my brain is at. He said it's similar to an old-fashioned, the sour cream donuts are similar to an old-fashioned donut, but they use sour cream to make it more cakey. They're usually glazed so good. Okay. I can kind of wrap my head around that. Probably about time to pop another elixir just so we don't accidentally run into a problem where we just like don't have it. But yeah, if they're gonna do away with consoles, which they seem to be moving more and more towards, which is not what I want by any stretch, but it seems to be the future seems to be in handhelds and less consoles. If I do Steam, I can build my own console that sits under the TV that I can control with a controller, and the rest of my family can enjoy those games that I purchase for myself or purchase when it's a good sale on their handhelds. And that's probably the ecosystem I'm moving towards, which is what I've taken an hour and 16 minutes to say. I think that's the future that I've been pushed into. But between like Humble Bundle sales and Steam sales and everything, that just makes so much more sense going forward. And I wish it didn't. You know, I liked owning consoles. I liked the overall just nature of that. And that's how I've been doing this way too long. I'm almost 40, and I don't remember a time ever of like not knowing the concept of what a video game is. My entire life has been video games, and has been in a lot of ways the history of video games, because as a poor kid, the like 15 to 20 years of video game history that happened before I was born was around me, because, you know, a lot of people just, you know, we had an NES and a Genesis. Sorry, I suddenly don't recognize where oh, that's where I came in. Oh, yes, I'm... Sorry, I was way too cavalier and way too conversational, and I was like, I know where I'm going, and it turns out I did not know where I was. In my defense, I've only been in this dungeon I think usually we don't make it this far. That first run, like, I can do almost with my eyes closed now at this point, which is like always how this stuff goes. You build up and get faster and faster and faster at it. Like, oh, okay. At some point, it'll hit an interesting point here where it's like, because we've done leveling up, we got another ribbon, and at some point, it's going to be like, okay, what do we do? Do we bail? Do we take these resources we've gained? And I think I want to go up and over. Guess I can. I don't need here. I have a map right here. But even stuff like this, so like in the future times. Oh, I said I was gonna get her an elixir and I never did. Okay. In the future times, I can I was been going back and forth. I do own a physical copy of Final Fantasy 3 on the Famicom. If I get a Retron 5, which I was highly debating getting, I then can play my physical copy and I can go through the I do think I would enjoy the weird homework project level of, hey, can I get a translation patch working on a physical game on the Retron? Like, but I don't own a Retron, and it would kind of make sense because that could carry me through a lot of these games going forward, and I could get physical copies of them, and that still holds some level of appeal, and I gotta figure out what I'm doing in the crazy imaginary world where I actually beat this game and can move on to the next one. That said, in that world, you know, a Steam Deck can play emulated stuff, and I could just have a little dock here, and whatever game I'm playing through, for the sake of these things, you know, let's say it was Final Fantasy 2, I could put the little bit of work into getting it running on the Steam Deck, and then say that I wanted to do it how Sam does and level up in between. I could sit on the couch and be like, we're gonna poke around and do some leveling, and then bring it back and hook it up for the sake of the stream, and then, you know, use my controller connected to it and be like, all right, now we're gonna stream this game. I think the options and versatility with a $320 Steam Deck just get kind of crazy. Okay, I don't think anyone needs. Did I remember to Elixir? Yes, I did. Okay. Sorry. I get distracted. But my worry as Microsoft leaves the ecosystem and whatever else happens is I'm terrified of what even though their consoles barely sold this generation, and even though PC Game Pass is barely a player, and even though it should have been, you know, like all these things, it's like Xbox did push the market and made it more competitive, and if Microsoft just becomes a publisher of games, and they're gonna have to be because they own them all now, I worry for what that even does to places like Steam and GOG and everything. Like, it's just, and it's like, I think those places will be affected a lot less directly than places like Sony. But, you know, if it's not like Sony doesn't want to charge $1,000 for a console, they do. You know, so like the only reason that I was able to get a $400 PS5 at launch is because they were worried about what Xbox was going to do. And the only reason I was able to get a $500 Xbox at launch is because they were worried about what Sony was going to do. Both of those places would love to just charge $1,000. And I really worry about the lack of competition. Things are just in a weird spot, though, because it feels like, you know, which is Nintendo, since like the GameCube days, has just been kind of off doing its own thing and has not really bothered. Been in its own lane. It's been thriving, right? It's not really like been like very worried about what anybody else was doing. So I need to get to door 8, which pops me out here.
Welcome to the party, pal!
Adoobeard has rated us.
Adoobeard has rated us. I don't like how she says your name. Hello, Addo. Welcome in, Raiders. Hello, we are trying desperately to beat Final Fantasy II. I can't shave till I get it done. So, welcome in, friends. Thank you so much for the follow. If for some reason you aren't following Addo and you're hanging out in here, please do. He's one of our best and kindest friends. Please give him a follow. It would mean a lot to us. If you don't know who I am, my name's Jeff. I make up one half of what is Dork Duck, which is me and my lovely wife-to-be. We used to do a morning show every single day, about once a week. Lena pitches us doing that again. It might happen again at some point. Didn't notice my shout out. I'm so sorry. I was just in a panicky state of like, thank you so much for handling that and doing the shout out. I'm bad at life. Yes, thank you. I was just worried. I just wanted to make sure it got handled. I'm sorry. But yeah, and this is weirdly the thing that is most endured from the days where we streamed every day and several times every day, is I'm slowly trying to play through every Final Fantasy game. I've been at Final Fantasy II on the NES for over a year. It's been a time and experience. This morning we've mostly been conversing about the fun that is Microsoft and their decision making. And how it's turned me from the biggest fan of Game Pass that would proselytize it to the heavens and earth and everything in between to someone who is, dumping all my Xbox stuff and moving over over to a Steam ecosystem and building a cute little Steam console for the living room that I'm pretty excited about. And then, probably not doing Nintendo consoles because when a Steam Deck is $320 when it goes on sale, and Switch 2 is $450 for the privilege of playing $80 game. Start to go, hey, maybe this doesn't super make sense. But my use case is different than a lot of people's because I have children that will destroy an $80 game or lose it. We find so many. I did a big audit of our Switch collection because we have a pretty big physical Switch library. Not as big as, not anything notable, but just especially for the digital age, we have a lot of physical Switch games. And, we have more than average because, over the course of the Switch being a thing, each of my kids have gotten a Switch Lite and I have a Switch and Selena has a Switch, so it just kind of makes sense to buy something physically because then it's then if you want to play it at some point, you can just pop into your Switch and play it. It just works, except for when I get on my organization bender and I start opening Switch cases and I go, where's this game? Where's this game? And then I'm bugging my ex-wife to be like, hey, do you know which Switch games are at your house? I got a bunch of empty cases here. And the idea of paying $80 for the privilege of opening an empty case and going, what the fuck, where is this? It's just not something that appeals to me. It's a bummer. I mean, like I said earlier, at some point getting a Switch 2 will make sense. Because from what I hear, it is, and it'll take some time to sort that out, right? If there's any like huge problems with like actually the Switch game, this particular Switch game works terribly on the Switch 2. You know, that stuff will become known over time. But for the most part, from what I hear, it's like it is kind of the definitive way to play your Switch games. So that chest right above us was kind of the original quest of like, let's see if we can fight this boss and get out. And it's not unreasonable that do that. That would give us a third ribbon. That would definitively mean we're like not eating this today, but also I'm somewhat dubious that we will. But you know what? We're gonna go for it. We're gonna keep plowing through. Fortune favors the bold. I need this beard off my face. Addo says, the Switch 2 has some nice changes, but has so many concerns potentially locking out of your Switch. Yeah. I don't like any of that stuff. I do think, like, down the line, when, like, they release a newer, fancier one, it'll probably make sense as a thing to pick up. If it's cheaper, just as a good way to play a lot of your old Switch stuff, which is honestly was my biggest justification for the PS5. Because I had such a big digital PS4 library that it was just like, well, I might as well. Because I had a launch PS4, and oh boy, did that thing sound like an airplane was taking off every time I turned that thing on. It still does, I imagine. It's in my kid's room, so I don't know, but I think it was loud. The crazy thing though, Addo, is like it doesn't matter. People are buying the Switch 2 like crazy. I do think they killed it this time on the naming. Because I thought, weirdly enough, their biggest mistake with the Wii U, and I would love to read a tell-all book or something at some point. But the biggest problem with the Wii U is that, like, everyone was, and it's one of the big problems with Xbox too. Is like nobody knows. Like, I'm a weird nerd that I can tell you the difference between an Xbox Series X, Series X, One S, and Xbox One. I can tell you the difference between all those things. I don't think the average person can, though. And, you know, that it's confusing. And if the Wii U would have been called either the Super Wii or the Wii 2, I think it would have done fine in the marketplace. And I think your average person that had no idea what a Wii U was has no idea about the concerns and stuff that you're talking about. I think your average consumer has no idea about any of that stuff, and so it's not going to deter them from buying it. But if it was called the Switch U, that it would have. He says, yeah, the Switch 2 isn't worth the risk. I'm sorry, but spending several $100s on a console that could be bricked because you had a power surge is unintelligent. Edo says, this is my take for sure. Edo says, oh, I know, I don't know the difference. It's... Names are important. And yeah, I would say on the whole like bricked console thing, I think that is clearly like something that like will either we'll know over time how big of a problem that is, or you know will it's another reason to like, yeah, just wait. Because in 4 years, by the time they're releasing another one, how much is it? How much is that coming up? You know, how much is that? And I truly don't know. I that has not been a thing that is anyone I know that was like most like, hey, I buy a console at launch people. I've seen a little more hesitation between the Switch 2, you know, but like it's not for those reasons. It's usually like, oh, the games are $80, or it's interesting. Like, I have been really surprised just how much people are just like eating up the Switch 2. Yeah, it says it's almost surprising how successful they are with the bad decisions. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hey, we're on a screen we've never seen before. So if nothing else, even if we fail today, that's a thing that we did, which is cool. Okay, so we came for 9. Get 10. How do we get? Very cool. Cool. I'm just waiting for our generation. Shiki says, I'm just waiting for our generation to buy with their morals in all areas. Cool. No issue with boycotting Target and Starbucks. For making shit decisions and not caring about people for no reason. But they can't get over their loyalty to Nintendo for treating their consumers like trash and laughing in their baby faces about it. I can't imagine being that brand loyal. Yeah, it's always been a thing though. It's what I never understand. It's like so many people's it's been that way back to, you know, I was the kid who owned because it was important to me and I was a little weirdo. You know, I was a person who wanted to make sure I had a Genesis to play the Genesis game and a Super Nintendo to play the Super Nintendo games, and would like beg, borrow, and steal my way, and wouldn't be able to do it while the console was fresh and new, you know, but like during the, you know, Nintendo 64, PS1 era, when most kids were building up those libraries and picking one and going with those, I was going ham, buying up cheap all of that stuff, because I was like, well, I have to have both. But at the time, it was for real. Like you were a Sony, you know, you were a Sega kid or a Nintendo kid, or you were a Sony kid or a Nintendo kid, and it was just this really weird, like, toxic identity-based thing that has not gone away in a lot of cases. Still get people that are that way, especially about Sony and Xbox. The Nintendo, like, less so. I mean, you get people that are just like, no, I'm gonna get everything Nintendo, and that's just what I do. But like, you get less of the like, Nintendo's better, and anyone who says anything slightly negative, it doesn't feel the same as like the toxicity I get with the Sony and Xbox stuff. But you do get this like insane brand loyalty where it's just like, oh, hey Sam, I'm here for the ending. You got this. Thank you. My chat wasn't scrolling, so I didn't see you say things. He said, oh, I know, but going forward, decisions our generations are going to hold the most weight. We're about to inherit this hellscape. Our decisions so much weight. That is true. It's good to see you, Sam. We've been talking about video game stuff, Sam. Also, as I told you, Sam, I built that little temporary for now to be replaced with something more permanently built later. Thou has verily noticed mine typo with yes. Built that little steam machine out there. And ever since Lena has not stopped playing Fields of Mystria or whatever, Fields of the Dungeons and Dragons Stardew game that has just been like nice. I don't think it's Fields of Mystria. I keep wanting to call it that because the old D&D game was like Chronicles of Mystria. I forget what that game is called. Shiki says, indeed, mine eyes bore witness to thine error, and I shan't allow thee to escape without due notice. Wow, Rudith. But yeah, that's my favorite thing. There's like a twinge of like when you make something for people to use in the living room and it immediately gets stolen and used. It's like it's used. I don't know why I said using. That's not a word. But like when that happens, like it's like this double weird thing of like, on one hand you're like, oh, I'm so glad, and on the other hand you're like, oh, maybe I want to use the thing, but it's been so happy to see her happy. She's just like having a good old time. They added like horseback riding and stuff to that game since the last time she played, and she's been riding a little magical horse around. There is a game called Fields of Mystria. Okay, maybe it's that one. That she's having fun with it. Me too. And then I have to get Steam accounts set up in a way for my kids through their. I have to coordinate with my ex-wife to do it, because my biggest fear is that they're gonna accidentally lock themselves out of it, and it's gonna be something that I can't access either. And then like if they, that's the thing, I don't want access to their email, and I never want to really read their email, like but I do want like something where it's like, hey, did you like not lock yourself completely out somehow accidentally because you changed a password for some silly reason and then you forgot, and so I'm hoping that between me and my ex-wife we can figure out some way to like prevent that from happening, and then I'll set them up their own little Steam accounts. And family sharing is pretty amazing on Steam. Hopefully it stays that way. I worry with less competition that stuff like that might go. Sam says I played piano last night and it was magical. I bet. I hope you're ready for full music nerd ramble. I am. Like we should do something musical together. It'd be fun. He says I need to read more Shakespeare. It's been too long and my terminology is rusty. Cheeky, did you know that all Ophelia really needed was just a good man? Fix all her problems. There's a new album out by America's English teacher that covers that in its first song. All she needed was a sassy gay friend, yeah. I bet it was very healing, Sam. There's so many times I really want a piano really bad, and I every time I sit down at one, it's just like so much of the world feels more containable, conquerable, whatever, what have you. I need to watch some more Sassy Gay Friend. I'm sending you. Okay. I will try to get to the link promptly, but I'm pretty bad at that. We did it! Yeah, we've never been on this screen before either. So we are definitely new territory. So regardless, even if this is not the run, this is a historic run. Sorry, I zoned out there. I was thinking, I'm hitting, guys. I'm getting the like, do I get to shave my beard? Yips. Like, I'm getting a little like, whew. It's within sight. I was just like looking at that combat menu and like, and not paying attention to what I'm. This is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be so excited about shaving my beard that I'm not gonna be able to shave my beard because I'm gonna mess up. Shadow says you got this? Maybe. I mean, this will be the determining factor probably, is this fight right here. Oh, that and the obviously the final boss, but these are the problem guys that can fuck up an entire run. These kitties. Shika's curls are magnificent. They just want head scritches. Sure. They're magnificent. My problem is less their magnificence and more the fact that they have a tendency to murder my entire party. Listen, I'll sacrifice myself so you get the final boss. Yeah. Well, it's like we did all this questing to get a ribbon, which at this point we have got 2 of them as far as this run goes. And it doesn't, the ribbon in this game doesn't do what ribbons in past games did. So it's like, yeah, you got a ribbon. Great. Still can be paralyzed. Still can have all this bad shit happen to you. That is this. Girls are magnificent battle as well as aesthetics. Yeah. Yeah, the ribbon is pretty lackluster. Yeah, we have a ribbon on Lena and Vince. Sorry, Sam. I didn't cover you with a ribbon. He's just taking a nap. It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine. We're good. I started talking about the beard, about the possibility of shaving the beard, and things got dicey. Says my hair is too pretty for ribbons, to be honest. Fair enough. Okay. That was scary. We did it though. Cool. And we got a 3rd ribbon. Hey, don't forget to pick Sam up. Good point. So honestly, at this point, you start going. Do we stop? I think the answer is no. But when we take another like 10 steps and die, then it goes like, oh yeah, we should have, we could have taken all that progress out, all those ribbons. Why would you stop? The reason would be that like we've progressed. We've leveled up. We have ribbons that we didn't have before, and so you're just ensuring a better run through the next time, theoretically. Yes, walk back. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. I would warp out, but that would be hilarious. Like a slow walk back. There you go, buddy. Look at that. She says, I don't think I fully grasp the area you're in. Can you just leave? Like, walking back will guarantee making out. There's a spell that warps you out to the start of everything. That's one of the big changes that happen in future. So, like, in future Final Fantasy games, you can't leave a dungeon like that. You have to walk out. But they also do things like save points, right? There's no save point. Dungeons. Alright, so... I'm going. I can't not go. Oh, I forgot to move Sam up. That's dumb. No, I have to go for it. I can't not. I'm just pointing out that there's probably some wisdom in bailing at this point. It's like a big picture version of that thing where it's like, oh, should I use the Phoenix down or go for the attack? And if I go for the attack and the attack hits and it's enough to kill him, then I was smart to not use the Phoenix down. What happened to her? Her item broke? that she uses to hit everybody with the magic spell? What happened to it? Okay. That's weird. I didn't know that could happen. He says, oh, I started drafting another outline for a book, a cozy mystery. I wish to know if there are events in cozy mysteries people love / hate. What kind of cozy mystery? Are you going like Agatha Christie? I think the key for like any kind of genre book, whether it be horror, whether it be cozy mystery, whether it be whatever have you, is just the characters. If the characters are in themselves like compelling and interesting and things that they want and need, and like that's the weird secret sauce to a lot of this stuff. We're here. That's the weird secret sauce to a lot of this stuff, is that it's like so many people are like, I need to make the mystery really compelling, and then they have like boring characters. And I think the key is you can have a bad compelling mystery with good characters and still have a good mystery book, or a bad, not as compelling sci-fi plot with good characters and still have a good sci-fi book. Can't have a compelling sci-fi or mystery or horror plot or what have you, and the characters be junk, and have it more than likely still be good. He says, well, my main characters are a married lesbian couple. One owns a cafe and the other's a writer. They have a lizard. They're very cute. Yeah, I'm down for that. Yeah, I'm excited. All right, we're on the final screen. Sam doesn't think he would be a good cozy mystery character. I disagree. Here we are, the final screen. Do I get to shave my beard? I forgot to move Sam up. I'm kind of happy that this random... I was about to be real mad about this random encounter, but given that I still forgot to move Sam up, kind of glad it happened. King Behemoth. Sam says King Behe. Behe says the plan is for the cafe owner to be a false extrovert who is easily drained but always has a good mask. The writer will be a very soft introvert who nerds out sometimes. I like. I don't even know why you're like writing this. Why don't you just have the ChatGPT write the book for you? That was my impression of stupid people on the internet. Okay, so before we do anything else, we're gonna move Samuel up. Then we're gonna heal everyone. I love you, and I know you're kidding, but I will kick you. Yeah, it's so frustrating to leave. Like you guys and me, like, and Lena had like a very nuanced conversation about AI stuff, and even that one got, you know, like very passionate and all drinks and everything else. It's like, it's so frustrating to have those kinds of conversations, and then run into the individuals who are like not critically thinking about any of this stuff in the slightest at all, or even attempting to. Because you can like, if you're at least critical thinking and getting the answers wrong, at least you're trying. But all right.
Oh, scary.
You have come this far, but you cannot defeat me. Music rules. We're here. Shiki says, it's so sad and painful. It's been so great to see how Upwork has been taken over by people who use AI and want people to edit and humanize their AI work. Or use AI to do jobs for them. Same that I saw people talking about Sora 2 and gushing about how good they look. It looks immediately fake to my brain, so now I'm worried about the majority of humans. It doesn't look uncanny valley. There's stuff I've fallen for. I will say this though. The fact that with Sora 2 and stuff that they're immediately trying to social media-ize it and they're trying to like turn it into advertising and stuff like that. They don't know how to make money off this stuff, and it will all collapse here soon. So there's that. All right. Let's see if we can beat this game. Let's give it a go. Jeff there hinting off the bat for $3,000 is like why we brought the sword we brought, because it does a flat percentage of the total health, so it's very helpful. Tim said, I don't know about Even Bad. It looks off like they the way they animated stuff. They did South Park and Family Guy mock-ups. The animation movement and frames look completely off to my brain, and the ones with real people, the lighting environment looks really off to me, but the people in the video were gushing about how real everything looks, and I was like, do people not know what real looks like, or is my brain broken in a good way? I think it's a combination of both. I mean, you have to remember, we've reduced everything down to like 30-second to a minute videos that people immediately scroll past, and so they need more slop. They need more slop. Damn. Edo says there's so many studies that show that AI is actively atrophying your brain, so no, they don't realize it. Yeah. It's scary stuff. I don't know if they do second phases in this. Ooh, boa. But I don't know what the original said, because I'm not playing the original Japanese game. I don't know that he said ooh, boa. Let's go. Welcome back safe. Congratulations. Wait, is that spelled correctly? There seems like to be an extra syllable in there somewhere. Yeah, if you get to shape, I do. Well, glad to see you again. See ya. Take care. Thank you, Shiki. Thank you, everyone, for the GGs. I did the thing. Yes. I'm glad I didn't do it last week when Sam would have felt eternally guilty about tuning in at all. You were just the kind of man as I thought. You know, Pirates are great. Pirates. Asa is just done with class and clocked in at work. A woof. Good to see Aether. I have to Aether. I will try to remember later to DM you over Blue Sky or something. I might have. I found those books that your boyfriend might want. So I'll send pictures. Come and join us anytime. I'll be waiting. Pirates, Socrates' brother. Dad should be happy now. I will work here and help Princess Hilda. Joseph. We will do our best to restore the world. We did it. Yeah. Let's live together again. Right? Lena's being very forward with Sam. Like, yeah, let's all be a big happy family. We've seen and known too many things. We cannot go back. I think you saved the world with us, buddy. I think you're forgiven. Did we forgive you too fast earlier? Yes, but I think you're good. Lena, I can't. He is right. Damn, somebody. Oh, that's just sad. Lena and Sam are siblings, and yeah. I didn't think they were Folger's siblings or anything. Let's go. This will be the real start for us. So they just let Sam leave. The long days of agony have come to an end. Evil things all disappeared, and the peace has returned to land. Memories of people cried bitter tears will soon be forgotten, but we'll never forget the brave young men who saved this world. I really like this game a lot. It's moved up there in my favorites of the series. I'm excited to see 3 and see what that's about, but evil things all disappeared. Cool. Ada said also have dip for bed, but I hope you have a fantastic rest of your stream time zone. Take care and stay awesome, everyone. Enjoy Shaven Face and good game anyway. Thank you so much. Thank you so much again for the raid. This credit sequence with the different heads coming into the crystal ball for some reason is neat. It's not as good as the FF1 credit sequence of just the silhouette of them standing on the mountain with that thing is an all-timer, but and may we all remember you, Boa. Yeah, you, Boa. What a weird thing that was. We did it though. We beat Final Fantasy II on the NES. The game, lots of people advised me not to play at all. It's done. Mischief managed. I love this game a lot. Compose. Nobuo Uematsu. What a fucking legend of a composer Nobuo Uematsu is. The translation was bad. Really bad. But like this is what's fucking hell of a game. Holy shit. I like this game a lot. And on NES hardware, and I'll talk about this a lot when my video essay on this game comes out, but like the last game Square makes before this game, before Final Fantasy 1, is a sequel to another one of their previously like most successful games, and they basically just rehash everything and put out the same game over again, but with like, kind of slightly better graphics and different. And it just got destroyed by the press that existed at the time. It didn't sell well, right? And really put the company in the shambles it was in, to the point that they were like, okay, one last try and then we'll kind of hang up our hat, which was Final Fantasy. And like, there's no world in which Final Fantasy 2 was going to look exactly like Final Fantasy 1. And games didn't do that often then. I mean, Zelda 2 looks nothing like Zelda. Aethercast composed, yeah. And so much of the critique of this game is based on the things they experimented on that didn't work, according to people. But this game doesn't get credit for all the things that they experimented with that like became staples in the series. Sam says Castlevania 2 and Metroid 2 are also very different. Yeah. That was the nature of the time. Don't even get me started on Silk Song. Oh, the game's too hard. Thank you guys so much for going on this journey with me. Sometime soon. I don't know if it'll be exactly next week, or if I'll give myself time to work on the video, or what, but either next Thursday or the Thursday after it, probably. We start Final Fantasy 3. Pretty exciting. We have raid messages. They look like this. And like this. And let's go. And say hi to. We're gonna go Bug, Pixel, and their coworkers. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Love you all. Be honest, be kind. Having a wonderful and amazing life and existence. Thank you for the stream. Can't wait to see you, baby Jeff. Yeah, it's coming. I originally at one point said I was gonna make the whole video first. I don't know if that's gonna, because my face is. But yeah, have a wonderful life and existence. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Love you all. There's a good chance you'll see us again this week with some Silent Hill stuff, but Lena also has a new toy out there to play with. Play lots of fields. Else. But yeah, love you all. Bye.